All right, the concept of a prepaid debit card is simple. You add cash and you subtract for each payment you make every time you use it. That's the simple part. It controls your spending and it avoids debt. Simple. The complicated part is the long list of fees often associated with these cards, fees and fine print. These are cards usually targeted for people who don't or can't use banks. Suze Orman has just put her name on one of these prepaid cards, and it renews the debate really over whether these cards help or hurt consumers. A debate that began back with, the Kardashians and their fee-rich card that they ultimately abandoned. Ryan Mack is the CEO of Optimum Capital Management. John Ulzheimer is with smartcredit.com. We talked about the Kardashian sisters. They bailed out their cards also from Russell Simmons and from others, other celebrities and people who have a following. And Ryan, you say point blank, these aren't illegal. There's nothing illegal about these cards. You say it's immoral. Prepaid debit cards are immoral. Why?
Well, first of all, in a capitalistic society, people have the right to go out and try to make money. This is perfectly legal, and so I don't find anything wrong from that perspective. But I say they're immoral because essentially what they do is they make money off the backs of low-income individuals who are poor, who don't know any better, that there are, quite frankly, quite a slew of other alternatives available where they don't have to pay fees, they can establish credit, and use a just as easy alternative to getting back in the system and don't have to insert themselves in a permanent underclass of society.
Okay, we'll talk about what those ways are that you think people should be using instead of prepaid credit card or debit cards, but I want to bring in John quickly because, John, tell me about the fees associated with these cards in general. Suze Orman's card, for example, she says she has kept the fees as low as she possibly can because, you can't use the banking system for free. There are fees involved. But in general, the fees run the gamut. Some of these cards have very, very high fees.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to disagree with Ms. Orman with respect to her comment that the fees are modest or low or whatever. We actually did a comparison of her card relative to some of the other cards in the market. Her card has 20 separate fees associated with it, and that doesn't include the fee that you're going to pay to Western Union, for example, for loading money on top of the card. The other fees are 17 for the Rush card, 9 for the Green Dot card, 7 for the Lil Wayne Discover prepaid card, and 1 for the American Express prepaid card. So I don't think I agree that the fees are low, and it doesn't matter. Fees set up an almost impenetrable minefield that the consumer has to walk through every single month. And if you misstep once or twice and you find yourself paying more for the use of your own money than you would pay for a properly managed checking account at a bank or a credit union.
But let's talk about the people who are, so Ryan, who wants to use a prepaid card? It's people who are the unbanked. It's people who, for whatever reason, are not banking at a credit union, right? Or are not banking at a traditional bank. And I will say, for people who don't have very much income and are trying to have a regular bank, a fee-based checking account at a bank, they're getting hit by a lot of fees, too.
Again, Suze Orman said something that was very striking to me. And many of these individuals who offer these prepaid debit cards say something striking. They say, if we can teach you how to use our cards responsibly, then we can minimize the fees. Well, as much effort as it goes into teaching how to minimize the use of the card and minimizing the fees, we can also teach individuals for free. Again, we're not going to get paid this route by using credit cards responsibly.
I don't want this entire segment to be just dwelling on this one card from Suze Orman. I want people who are interested in prepaid debit cards are wondering, when and if they're ever good for me. But in terms of establishing a credit history, and let's roll this soundbite from Suze Orman. She's actually trying. She says she's entering a space. She's trying to change things. She's trying to work with one of the credit agencies to allow these to help you build a credit history. Let's listen.
The intention of this card is to change credit scoring in the United States of America. The intention behind this card is to give people the least cost-effective way for them to be able to pay online, to be able to have a card to access things, because it's very dangerous today sometimes to carry cash around.
So, John Ulzheimer, we want to be able to pay our bills on time with a prepaid debit card and have the credit agencies know about it so it can help you and it can get you on the radar. That's a good way to be moving, right?
Well, it's a little bit arrogant for Suze to suggest that she can somehow change the credit scoring system. Look, here's the problematic thing about prepaid debit cards. They're not credit products. They're not an extension of credit. They're money loaded onto it. They're a gift card, essentially, with a brand associated with it. They're not reported to the credit reporting agencies. This particular card, the transactions may be reported to TransUnion, but I got to tell you, the wrong people have been invited to this party. FICO is the one who controls the FICO credit scoring system, not TransUnion. They're not involved in the research associated with this card. That's the whole issue there.
So bottom line, Ryan Mack, I want you to round it out for us. Bottom line, if you want to not get into debt and you want to be a responsible user of a card, what is it that you should be using?
Well, essentially, you should go to the websites like asmarterchoice.org and put your zip code in and figure out the credit unions that are in your local area. You can go to joinbankon.org and figure out which banks are in the area that offer no-fee type accounts where you can get a no-fee debit card. You should go to annualcreditreport.com and essentially get your credit report and start to go through the process of establishing history.
I can see that you guys really feel strongly about these prepaid cards, all of them in general. Thanks, guys. John Ulzheimer and Ryan Mack. Talk to you again soon. So here's the bottom line with prepaid debit cards. Be wary of them. They're useful only if you're really trying to stick to a budget or you want to maybe give it instead of a credit card to your college-bound kid, although Ryan Mack says he wouldn't even give this to a college-bound kid. He would give them just maybe a loaded gift card instead, or cash. There's a long list of fees and fine print that could end up costing you way too much on these. Depending on the card, you may get charged for checking your balance. There are often fewer protections than a debit card or a credit card if you lose it. And listen to how Time magazine boils it down. Consumers who use prepaid debit cards as a substitute for mainstream financial products are relegated to an economic underclass that prevents them from borrowing or obtaining credit on the best terms. Ouch. Now, there are alternatives, and getting into the banking system will help your credit. Use a debit card from your bank or look to a credit union. If your debt is a problem, get it under control. Talk to a nonprofit credit counselor for help. You can head to the National Foundation for Credit Counseling site, nfcc.org, and you can find a credit counselor near you to get started. Let's keep talking about all of this. Job opportunities for vets coming home. Is this your year to move up in your company? Hey, is corporate America doing enough to create jobs here? Are you specifically trying to hire veterans? We want to hear about it. Tell us via Facebook and Twitter. The handle for the show is CNN Bottom Line. Please reach out to me at Christine Romans. And if you want to know more about the topics we cover here, don't forget about my new book with Ali Velshi, How to Speak Money. We hope to help you build the vocabulary you need to be fluent in the decisions you're making about student loans, mortgages, your job, all of that. Back now to CNN Saturday for the latest headlines. Have a great weekend, everybody.